It seems that almost every year, we the audience are deeply disappointed by the Academy's picks for the best performances in film of the year. That's why for the 5th year in a row, here on Beyond the Trailer, I've given you the chance to let your own voice be heard with the BTT Oscar poll. The results are in, so let's find out who you think deserves to win the Oscars, plus my own predictions for who will actually walk away with the gold.
Best Picture. And the audience gives the Oscar to Django Unchained.
This was the closest vote of all the categories, and while Django Unchained ultimately won, Les Mis and Argo did give the Tarantino revenge flick a run for its money. But even more interestingly, just like with the actual awards shows, Argo had a last-minute rally here, with even you being swayed by Ben Affleck's directorial Oscar snub, and the huge momentum he's picked up by winning award after award after award. But let's not forget that back in 2009, Mickey Rourke also was sweeping the award circuit, only to suffer one of the most brutal and shocking Oscar losses in history, when Sean Penn was called up on stage. But if Argo doesn't win Best Picture, it won't be quite as shocking, as the odds are still against it. Only 3 flicks have won Best Picture without a Best Director nomination, so that would mean that despite popular opinion, the frontrunners are Amour, Life of Pi, Lincoln, Silver Linings Playbook, and even Beasts of the Southern Wild, as all 5 have Best Director noms. I do think there's a strong chance Argo could win, though, but if it doesn't, my money is still on Lincoln. It has the most nominations of any film this year, 12, and of the major contenders, it's also the biggest box office hit, a nice change of pace for an awards show that often highlights the least seen films of the year. Then again, there has been a surprising Lincoln backlash, with many whispering they couldn't even get through the film, and you put it in 5th place behind Silver Linings Playbook. Has Harvey Weinstein gotten to you too? As for write-ins, what films did you feel were snubbed? That would be Moonrise Kingdom, Cloud Atlas, The Impossible, Skyfall, and The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Best Actor. And the audience gives the Oscar to Daniel Day-Lewis.
While everyone has been duly impressed by Hugh Jackman's turn in Les Mis, they're still giving the actual awards to Daniel Day-Lewis. Yes, this is hardly a neck-and-neck race a la Chastain and Lawrence, and it's almost a certainty that Day-Lewis will win his 3rd Oscar for portraying America's 16th president. Once again, his legendary commitment to a role will pay off handsomely, and one has to wonder how he can possibly top himself at this point. But Day-Lewis himself doesn't worry about topping himself and has no roles even lined up, which is hardly a surprise, as ever since The Boxer, he's only made a film every few years. He's like some thespian Loch Ness monster. We rarely get to see him, but even when we do, we can hardly believe our eyes. Turning our attention to write-ins, you felt 2 actors didn't get the credit they were due. John Hawkes for The Sessions, and then surprisingly Logan Lerman for The Perks of Being a Wallflower. You know, I'd have to agree with you on that last one.
Best Actress. And the audience gives the Oscar to Jennifer Lawrence.
This is an interesting category. For most of the award season, it's been a tight race between Jessica Chastain and Jennifer Lawrence, with Lawrence consistently edging out Chastain, as she has here. Actually, with you, though, it wasn't that close, and clearly Lawrence's turn in Hunger Games has won her a very large and loyal fan base. But you know how I was just talking about Mickey Rourke's snub? Well, there were gasps aplenty this year when Emmanuelle Riva's name was called for Best Actress. I, for one, can totally see that happening, as the Academy has a long history of favoring actors in the twilight of their careers over the popular pick. Remember how Alan Arkin famously beat out Eddie Murphy back in 2007? And Riva is certainly not a popular pick, as in this poll she got by far and away the least amount of votes. As for write-ins, you only felt one name was missing from this list, Marion Cotillard in Rust and Bone.
Best Supporting Actor. And the audience gives the Oscar to Christoph Waltz.
Christoph Waltz's 2nd role in a Tarantino pick is, as far as you're concerned, a bingo. Yet the SAG Awards have made what was once considered a sure thing not so sure. Yes, the biggest Academy voting bloc actors awarded their Best Supporting Actor prize to Tommy Lee Jones for Lincoln, meaning he could pull the same upset on Oscar night. And while Waltz is an audience and industry favorite, a Jones win is plausible, considering that in a category where everybody already has an Oscar, both he and De Niro haven't won for the longest amount of time. It's also worth noting, though, that this category ended up having the 2nd biggest number of write-ins, as you obviously feel the Academy missed a chance to shine the spotlight on an actor who hasn't already won an Oscar, Leonardo DiCaprio. But also of note is that the other actor many of you felt deserved a nod is Ezra Miller for The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which means, though we need to talk about Kevin Actor, is at least finally getting on your radar, and deservedly so.
Best Supporting Actress. And the audience gives the Oscar to Anne Hathaway.
Yes, while Daniel Day-Lewis is almost guaranteed to win in his category, the surest bet in the entire Oscar race is right here. Anne Hathaway is certain to get the Oscar she's been effectively campaigning for since she shared the Oscar stage with Hugh Jackman for a duet back in 2010. It's no accident that the two musical theater lovers ended up in Les Mis, and perhaps they both would be walking away with the Golden Oscar night if not for Day-Lewis. Sometimes, Jackman, it just isn't your year. But it most definitely is Hathaway's year, and the actress, who is infamous for dividing audiences, can be proud of turning in a performance that nobody can dislike. And not only did she win by a landslide in this poll, but this category also had the least amount of write-ins. Whose name did you come up with? Well, some of you would have liked to see Maggie Smith here for the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, Emma Watson for The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and Judi Dench for Skyfall.
Best Director. And the audience gives the Oscar to Steven Spielberg.
Who knows how he'd be doing if he'd been nominated, but Ben Affleck's absence from this category has cast a large shadow over it, as well as left it wide open. Sure, you picked Steven Spielberg, but Ang Lee and David O. Russell also got a respectable number of votes. And this is the category with the biggest number of write-ins. Almost all of them are for Ben Affleck, but you also felt all the Best Picture director snubs deserved a nomination: Tarantino, Tom Hooper, and Kathryn Bigelow. However, you also felt Sam Mendes should be here for Skyfall as well. But don't worry about Mendes. Word is he's about to be rewarded with a deal to direct the next 2 Bond films. As for this year's Oscar race, it really is wide open, with the only certainty that no matter who wins, everyone will be thinking the Oscar should have gone to Ben Affleck. But let me ask you this. If he hadn't been snubbed, do you think you really would have voted for Affleck in this category?
Best Animated Feature. And the audience gives the Oscar to Wreck-It Ralph.
Our final category. This was a no-brainer for you, with Wreck-It Ralph dominating this category almost as handily as Hathaway did hers. But will Wreck-It Ralph truly win the Oscar? It did take home Best Animated Film from the Producers Guild of America, the National Board of Review, and the Annie Awards. However, will the stuffy Academy really give the gold to a tune that's literally sugar-coated? The 3 nominations for stop-motion animated flicks might indicate otherwise. As for write-ins, you felt that Rise of the Guardians once again didn't get its due, first at the box office and now for the Oscar Gold. And those are the results of the BTT Oscar poll. What do you expect to happen on Oscar night, and what do you hope will happen? Be sure to share your thoughts down below. I'm Grace Randolph, and I hope you'll check out the rest of BTT's Oscar coverage.